Welcome to the Zen of Reffing Roller Derby, Lesson 13, Skater Concerns and Official Reviews. I'm Axis of Stevel, the author of this training manual. I'm filming this on May 26, 2018. The content of this presentation is up to date as of this recording. Should this video become outdated or replaced by a newer version, I'll put a link on the screen to where you can find more information. And as always, you can find the latest version of the full training manual at www.tinyearl.com/zenreffing. A quick disclaimer. The WFTDA, MRDA, and JRDA are not responsible for the content in this training manual or this presentation, nor do they make any claims as to the accuracy of their content. Another note. If you spot any errors or outdated information in this presentation, please put a comment on YouTube explaining the error and listing the time code. Lesson 13, Skater Concerns and Official Reviews. Alright, let's talk a little bit about concerns. This will happen often during a game that between jams, as an official, and you can be in any position, including NSO positions, and a skater will come up, or sometimes a coach, or whomever, and they have just a question or concern. And in these cases, this is considered a low priority task, but you want to help as time allows. If you're busy, say so, but it's good to at least hear their concern, because they might be saying, hey, we've got an injured skater on our bench, we need the EMTs. And that's obviously something that becomes a very high priority, as that's a safety issue. They might also be pointing out, oh, the track is tearing up at that turn, or some such. More often, it will be to express concern either with the officiating, like, hey, we're getting a lot of high blocks, can you watch for those? Or, hey, their jammers are like swimming through the pack, can you watch for the forearms, please? Certainly, I'll pass it along. In which case, then, at the first available opportunity, mention it to the head referee, and the head referee will kind of distribute it among the crew. Oftentimes, it's a dispute on scoring. They might say, hey, I think that was 3 points, not 2. There was a skater in the box. In which case, if they're right, if you're the jammer referee and you go, oh, crap, they're right, then certainly, absolutely, go deal with it. This is... While they're not getting a free official review by expressing their concern, yes, if they're right and you're wrong, then don't try to hide the error. Fix it. If you need to call an official timeout to go fix it, go do so. It's better that we slow the game a little bit but get the score right than say, okay, yeah, you're right, sorry, but the next jam's going to begin, and then we go on and they're just screwed out of their point. That's not a good way to do it. Generally speaking, any question that requires more than about 10 words to ask or 5 words to answer is probably too long. So, you don't have time for a long dispute in a conversation, and if the skater asks, what was the penalty that you gave the jammer? That was a forearm. Thanks. If they say, hey, I'm not sure that was right about the, what was that call you made? Oh, it was like the thing about when they came in from out of bounds, and I'm not sure that was right, because, the skater didn't, pass anybody when she did this, so I'm not sure if this was... And you don't have time to explain what an out-of-bounds block is and why this was, impactful on the game and why the penalty was issued. You can say, all right, well, thank you, but, I need to return to my duties. Basically, don't lose control of the conversation. As soon as the skater is asking you to rehash the last jam or just starting to go on and on and on, suggest their team seek out an official review to discuss the matter. A team has one option they can do, which is, this is not in the rules, but this is considered a professional practice among head referees. If a team uses a team timeout, they are now buying that head official, usually the head official, their time for a minute. And this is only to hear out their concerns. It is not a free official review. But, if they want to spend their minute of their timeout talking to the head referee and why they have concerns about whatever, the officiating, the scoring, the safety of the game, whatever it is, they have purchased that, and we'll certainly hear out their concerns at that point. Now let's talk a little bit about official reviews. In fact, we're going to talk a lot about official reviews. Each team receives one official review per half. This is their time to spend as they wish. It warrants the official's full attention and respect. If you, as just any referee in the crew, but not that referee, if you cannot be of assistance during a review, you didn't see the action, you really have no eyes on this at all, you really can't participate, you may be asked to return to your duties. Your duties being things like, watching the track, making sure the skaters aren't somehow blocking between jams, looking at the benches, check the track to make sure that there's not areas that are tearing up, just generally keeping yourself busy and making sure that the officials remain in control of the overall game. The subject of a review must be about the prior jam, the lineup, for the prior jam, like something that occurred during that 30 seconds, or a scoring issue from 2 jams prior that was updated on the scoreboard during the prior jam. The latter is a little bit rare, but generally speaking, it's going to be a review from the prior jam, usually about scoring, or even more often, people requesting a penalty on a jammer be lifted, or a penalty be enacted on a jammer. Sometimes about the blockers, but the jammers obviously are very critical, so they tend to take the brunt of the official reviews issues. So as a jammer referee, if you have a notable event that occurs during a jam in progress, it's a good idea just to make a quick mental picture, because it's or a mental note on the event, because it's very easy to forget that in the 30 seconds or so after a jam before the official review begins and you realize what it is they're requesting. An official review must be requested by the captain or designated alternate for the team. They must be wearing a visible C for the captain or A for the alternate. Visible doesn't mean you have to be able to see it from your angle. They just has to be visible if you're looking from the right angle. Captain usually has a C on their arms, sometimes on their uniform. The alternate usually has like an A written on their arm, or oftentimes on the palm of their hand or something. So the hand signal for official review is this, what we call the hamburger or the donut. So they have to hold this up. A captain or alternate may not be in the penalty box or on their way to the penalty box. As we said in a prior lesson, that a team must do without the service of their skater for the 30 seconds that they've got a penalty. So if a captain has gotten the penalty and they're on the way to the box, they're out. They've been penalized. We don't want to hear from them again until that penalty time has elapsed. The team must play short the use of their captain during that time. Successfully violating the procedure on how to request a official review. For example, if a non-captain or non-alternate requests requests the official review, and the referee doesn't check for this area, just immediately calls the official review, does the official timeout, then that's a penalty, because they have now stopped the game clock and they did not have permission to do that. So at that point, the clock should be, the penalty should be issued, and then the skater should be told to line up for the jam, because we're going to continue on. Now, often the captain or alternate has walked up, or like has shown up in the process, and you might at that point, you do issue the penalty. Then you might turn to the captain and say, "Okay, do you wish to utilize this review? Yes, no, okay, boom," and you go on. It is a good idea if there is an officiating issue that needs to be cleaned up and fixed between jams. Do so before the official review. So, for example, there's a problem in a jam that involves a cut track penalty that was not correctly issued. The details don't matter. Something was clearly wrong, and after the jam, the officials need to go and rectify the issue. Maybe somebody needs to be sprung from the box, somebody needs to be put in the box. Something went wrong, and they need to fix. Now, in the meantime, a team has requested an official review, and both captains have approached the center of the track. Before the official review begins, it is a good idea for the head referee to say, "Okay, just before the review begins, we have resolved an issue with the officiating. There was, the cut track, blah, 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 whatever it was, the problem was, and how it was resolved." And say, "Do you still wish to utilize your official review?" Yes? Okay, we'll go on. No? Okay, you will not be charged for this. And then you go on, because there was an officiating error, and sometimes that officiating problem is exactly what they want the review about. So, if we're resolving this on their own, they should not be docked to the official review for that. So, and that's why we clean up the issues first before we do the official review, so they have the option not to use it if they wish. Outside pack referees. When an official review is called, you should always skate to the inside. Matter of fact, it's a good idea just to skate to the inside in general whenever there's like a clock stoppage of any sort. Official timeout may not be necessary, depending upon what the issue is. If the NSOs are trying to track down a penalty, yes, it's a good idea to go in there. That way the NSOs can talk to everybody at once. But if they're just doing like track repair duty or something like that, stay in place. Be ready, watch the skaters lining up for the jam. And that way you're in position. It doesn't delay the game further getting as they get the game back underway. But in the case of an official review, or a team timeout where there's 60 seconds and your captain may want to talk to you, absolutely, go right to the center, because the head referee really doesn't want to track you down. Head referees get a little bit annoyed when they've got 6 referees in the center, and they're like, okay, wait, who are we missing? And they turn around and there's an OPR like chatting with one of the lineup trackers or something on the side. Now they got to yell for them and get them over there, and it doesn't look very professional in front of the team captains. So go to the center if there's a team requested clock stoppage of any sort. Now, an official review does not have to actually be an official review. A team has the option of exchanging their review for a 60-second clock stoppage. Like we'll use the common vernacular to say like an extra timeout, although it's not technically that. They basically say, instead of having a review, we just want a 60-second break, and they can use that however they wish. If they want to talk to the head referee, they can talk to the head referee. If they want to, have a team cheering session on the bench, they can do that. If they want to talk strategy on the bench, they can do that. Whatever. The 60 seconds is theirs to spend as they wish. Now, this cannot be changed to a normal review once any sort of significant amount of time has elapsed. So if the team says, okay, we're going to use this just, as like an extra timeout, fine. And then they take 2 steps, turn around and go, actually, I do want to review something. That's fine. That was 1 or 2 seconds that was elapsed. If they come back after 15 or 20 seconds and they say, actually, I do want to use this as my review, at that point it's denied. It's just, I'm sorry, we've used too much of the 60 seconds, so your request is denied. And they might get a momentary look of irritation, but it's appropriate because they are impacting the game, because they're essentially doing an official review and an extra 15-second clock stoppage at that point, and they don't get that. If a team's first official review of a period results in a finding of officiating error, the team's official review is refunded and may be used again. This may happen to each team once per half. What this basically means is that a team gets 1 review per half, but if the referee screwed up, we have to say, yes, you're absolutely correct, a penalty should have been issued, it was not, we're going to go ahead and issue the penalty now. They get the review back. They can use it again. Now, sometimes some officiating errors cannot be fixed. For example, if a team was to, for some reason, ever request to say, I think lead jammer should not have been issued to blue team. Head referee says, okay, and what resolution would you like for that? And the team goes, because you can't very well reverse who was lead, like 2 minutes after the fact. So, but certainly the referees can talk about it, and if they agree that, yes, the lead should not have been, lead was incorrectly awarded, then the team gets their official review back. So, and they can use that again if they wish. There is no standard practice as to how official reviews are to be conducted. There are a lot of ways to do an official review wrong. There's not really a right way to do it. A lot of every head referee really has kind of their own style. Some of these are quite different from others. If you're new to working with a given head referee, ask how they conduct official reviews. Typically, an official review works like this. Team signals it, head referee says, okay, everybody in. Team captains come in. Sometimes the coaches, will join them. The referee, the head referee assembles the entire ref crew. Somebody from the NSO crew, usually the head NSO, but it doesn't have to be. Somebody comes in there. If there's someone that's doing the official review paperwork for a game, often an alt ref, if there is one, could be an NSO, somebody will usually come in to do that. So there's usually a good 10 or 12 people all kind of standing in a circle. Head referee will say, okay, this blue team has requested an official review. Go ahead. And blue team now outlines their concern. I think that the forearm, or that the red jammer committed a forearm penalty, and we would like a penalty assessed. So head referee will generally recite back, because sometimes it can take really meander, and it can take a while to sort out what it exactly is the issue that they're complaining about and what the resolution they want is. Okay, so to clarify, you believe that that red jammer committed a forearm penalty, and you are asking that a forearm penalty be assessed to red jammer. That is correct. There's a dispute at this point. Some head referees will turn to the red team and say, do you have anything you wish to add? That was more popular or more common in the past. Nowadays they do it a little less often. Now they typically will turn and say, do you understand the nature of the review? Red team will typically say yes, but their opinion is not asked for, because this was blue team's review. In which case the referee crew says, okay, thank you, we're going to discuss this. Please wait here. And The teams never actually wait there. They always go wander off. But ideally, they don't wander too far because you really don't have to spend a lot of time getting them back. Referee crew goes off and talks about it. This is what can really differ in terms of how the head referees are basically conducting the discussion. Now, the head referee has control here. Even if you believe you know the solution, or you know exactly what happened, do not interrupt when you're talking to the team captains. The team captains have bought this time. This is that particular phase of the official review is only about the team captain outlining their concerns and the requested review. It is not appropriate for anyone, the head referee or another referee or anybody, to speak up because, yes, see, what exactly happened was this, blah, 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 because now you're essentially dismissing their review by telling them what you believe actually occurred. There's oftentimes different perspectives, on what actually occurred. So when the referees are off talking about it, oftentimes, the head referee, okay, well, let's see. Now, this was your jammer. Tell me, what did you see during this? Oh, okay, you did not see a penalty. All right. Is there anyone here that believes they saw a forearm action? Okay, you did. Tell me what you saw. Okay, you saw this. All right. What was the impact of this? All right. Did anybody else see the action? What do you believe? Might turn back to the initial jam referee. Do you believe that person is incorrect in their assessment and it is definitely a no call, or do you believe that you simply did not have the eyes on the action? You were just not able to see it. Okay, you were not able to see it. All right. Based on what I'm hearing here, then we're going to go ahead and issue a penalty to Red Jammer. But again, this can vary quite a bit. You will oftentimes have referees that are in dispute. One person is sure that there's a penalty. One is certain that there's not. Sometimes you start getting into very complex rule disputes, and that's why I've said that a head referee, or at least someone else on the crew, should have an exceptional mastery of the game's rules, because you really don't have to say, I'm not even sure what the rule is over here on this, and that can get very awkward. So either way, head referee is going to try to establish a consensus among the crew. If that is not possible, they will often go to sort of a majority vote of those that saw the action. Okay, I have 2 referees that saw the action that believe it's a penalty, 1 that did not, so we're going to go ahead and issue the penalty. But not always. There are head referees that will simply say, okay, well, I have 2 referees that believe it was a penalty. However, my opinion of what I saw is that it was not, so we're going to go with that. That's a little bit of a slap in the face to the crew, but I've known head referees that have done that. So, again, there's no right or wrong procedure here. It is how the head referee wishes to resolve an official review. It is their review to resolve. The head referee is the final arbiter on the game, and they get to make that decision. Establishing a consensus is a good way to do it, but the head referee is under no obligation to do so. The head referee then returns to the captains and presents the verdict and might say, I have 3 referees who saw the action. 2 believe that a forearm penalty was committed. The third was not certain, basically had eyes on the action, but just could not make a determination. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and issue the forearm penalty to Red Jammer. I need Red Jammer from the last jam to report to the box. Sometimes the captains will attempt to argue. They can argue, but it's not going to do much good, and the head referee is usually not interested in hearing their arguments at that point. And everyone might say, okay, I appreciate your concern, but this matter is now settled. The head NSO should be informed as to the verdict, because the head NSO will need to let the scoreboard operator, or at least somebody in the middle. So the head NSO is not always in the middle, but someone will need to let the scoreboard operator know, because oftentimes scoreboard software will track the official reviews. Usually someone will go let the announcers know. If there's not usually like an alt ref, but if there's not an alt ref, it might be one of the OPRs. This is the sort of thing they might sort out during the officials meeting, before a game, who's going to do this. It's good for them to notify the announcers as to what the nature of the review was and the result of the review. Because from the audience's perspective, the captains came in, said something, the referees went back, talked to the captains, and the Red Jammer goes to the box, and they really don't know what the issue was. So it's a good idea for the announcers to be able to kind of provide context for the action to everybody. However, and good announcers will know this, is that when they're informed of the result, that result is embargoed until the head referee is speaking to the captains. The captains have a right to hear it from the head referee and not hear it over the loudspeaker from the announcers. So, a few final things. First, you will make bad calls that will be overturned. It will be embarrassing. It will be sometimes aggravating, sometimes like you'll question yourself. Learn from your mistakes. It happens. It will happen. It will happen to the best of referees. It will happen. Just got to live with it and move on. Second, you will make good calls that will be overturned. Calls that you were certain that was a penalty, and 2 referees question it, and you're convinced that this was a good call. You made the right call, but it gets overturned anyway. So sometimes that overturning is correct. Sometimes it isn't. You can look back on video after the game, and if you want to, and see what actually transpired then. But it doesn't matter. You're going to have good calls that will be overturned. Again, live with it. Remember that your perspective is but one view of an event. It is not the entire truth. So it happens sometimes that it really looked like a penalty from your angle, but from other angles they could also see that maybe it was not. So an official review really is good for looking at an action from multiple perspectives. Also, it's not appropriate for referees to be publicly airing grievances regarding official reviews. So don't go back home, go on Facebook, and immediately complain about the official review. It's unprofessional. It makes the crew look bad. It makes you look bad. It makes the head referee look bad. It angers the teams or upsets the teams. We don't do that. If you want to discuss the official review, talk about it in the officiating room after. Talk about it privately with some other referees or some friends after. But we do not publicly air our grievances regarding the official reviews. Finally, don't let an overturned call affect your focus or professionalism. It is very easy to get in your head after an official review, after a call was overturned, and now, oh my God, I'm the most terrible ref, or and you're just, you're afraid to make calls, or you're angry. You're angry because somebody else screwed it up. You had nailed that right, and somebody else screwed up. Don't let it, affect your focus. Just like in a game of poker. Sometimes you're going to lose. You play everything perfectly, and you're still going to lose a hand. You just have to shrug your shoulders and move on, because the more angry you get, the more mistakes you're going to make, and the more likely you're going to wind up in another official review again. And that's really not where you want to be. That concludes Lesson 13, Skater Concerns and Official Reviews. We'll be back in Lesson 14 next time to discuss pack formation. See you then. Thanks.